Oh, I've got 22 minutes now. Perfect. Yeah, take two.
That's the get into it.
Hey old dogs, this is Diaz and Bunnings. We're on the mat. It's a new segment we are starting up this week. This will be like a weekly video, just to get a bit more sort of interaction with you guys that are on the old dogs method. Just because obviously we're online, I'm not seeing you that much. It's a good opportunity for you to, if you have any questions, you can send us through some questions and we can address them on this piece. We're pretty much just going to go over the coming week of programming and stuff like that. And so yeah, and if you have any smaller questions, you can pop them in the comments down below. And we can just answer them there or answer them next week in our video. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, it'd be good. It's a good way for us to also just tell you about our training for the week, sort of how we're going to break it up, run through the week, like Liam said, talk about something that we've done in our training this week that we thought was like a highlight from our week, talk about maybe a tip that we learned, and then finishing off like with a controversial opinion of something that's come up in the past week in the world of fitness and CrossFit. But yeah.
Okay.
Get into acid bath.
Yeah, sweet. Squatting acid bath Monday. So we're starting off this week, heavy or somewhat heavy squats. We've got 6 sets of 4 reps at 80% of your 1 rep max. Make sure you're taking about at least 2 minutes rest between those sets. Driving up fast out of the bottom, even though it is like it's a somewhat challenging percentage, just try and keep it as speedy as possible, staying nice and tight. Then we move into below the knee snatches every 2 minutes for 8 sets. You're going to do 2 snatches, building weight over those 8 sets. So a bit longer sort of interval than last week, but make sure you're pausing for at least a second just below the knee before you explode. Try and do those like coming off the floor. Don't stand up all the way and then come back down. Sort of go from the floor, pause just below the knee, and then go from there.
So like a snatch lift off.
Yeah.
Hold it there for once.
Yeah, so it's just more applicable to your actual starting position. And then 12-minute EMOM, we've got 12 or a 9 cal bike in the first minute and 2 front squats at 80% on the second minute. Okay, so with those, you're going to be breathing heavy. We're moving towards a sort of higher intensity with our front squats. You're going to maintain the position and stay tight under a bit of, obviously, like fatigue and from the assault bike. So make sure you just keep it nice and tight. That'll be a pretty tough one. Okay, so try and work through that best you can.
It's good. Everyone's favourite day, I reckon.
Yeah, leg day.
So Tuesday, again, we're going about running, so working towards that 1 mile run, which is going to be coming up very soon. We're going to be bringing up sort of the volume, staying the same from last week, but the intensities we're looking for are a little bit different. Last week we had those 200 metre sprints, now we're going to go 400 metres. Sort of taking into account on Monday with how heavy we're going to be going on the snatches and also the back squats. I imagine legs are going to be pretty, sort of trashed from that. So what we're thinking, around 60 to 75% of your mile pace for that first 400. Then the second 400 sort of taking it nice and easy, having a 2 minute rest in between each one. Should keep the legs going and keep the blood flowing. So
you should already be starting to recover on that second 400, and then you get the 2 minutes rest as well after that. So that way, when you get back to the next set, that first 400 again, you can hit with a good intensity as well.
Yeah, and then the same day we've got our same sort of upper body accessory work again for that strict muscle up work. Same. I think it's been working really well for everyone's pulley control. Should hopefully be transferring over to a lot of the other gymnastics movements. So that's all pretty much the same. And then just a lightish hinge at the end with the Romanian deadlifts.
Guys, just with your strict dips as well, try and really control the lowering of those. Don't drop straight down and have them all unstable. Really, if you want to think in your head 3 seconds on the way down, a little pause at the bottom, and then contracting up. Keep that for quality. Yeah,
it's Tuesday.
Tuesday, we got Wednesday. We got that EMOM to start off with. So you should be getting pretty comfortable with this if you've been hitting it for the past few weeks. We've had it sort of the same for a while now. You got the strict chin up, so that's the supinated grip. So not pronated, supinated. 4 second lowering, so there's a lot of time under tension there. So that's 24 seconds of lowering. Not considering the upward phase, so try and really maintain that. You should be getting a good pump by the end of that. 15 hollow to arch swings, nice and small, keeping the feet together, butt squeezed, everything's nice and tight. Static support dips, so that's like a static support, doing them on the box or on like if you've got dip bars, parallettes or something like that, you can do them there. And then the hollow hold, just basic core work, so should be getting pretty comfy with that.
Because this is like the same interval it's been for like 3
Yeah.
4 weeks now.
There's been some tiny changes, but like it's like pretty similar. Yeah.
That'll be good. Then we got our overhead work, so we're going to be adding a push stroke to our push presses this week. I think not only sort of like leading up the open, it's about time we sort of ramp up the sort of skill that's required on this Wednesday movement. Adding the push stroke, not only a good way to cycle for our workouts, but also just a nice way to work out Olympic weightlifting work for when we do go for sort of heavier, cleaner jerks in the next cycle. When we sort of shift the focus to more Olympic weightlifting and then being able to back that up during workouts.
Just make sure with that push jerk as well, you're trying to get that straight to lockout as much as you can. Try and not catch it with those soft elbows. But
And then more
I've got the accessory work, Philly press and the dumbbell rows, just to get some good shoulder movement and like that mind muscle connection to the lats. So so I've got the Thursday. It's still a like recovery day, pretty low volume. We've got a 3K run, just one set this week, 50% pace. Don't kill yourselves on those. That like it's just even if you can practice trying to nose breathe the whole time, in and out through the nose. It's a good opportunity for that. Just put your headphones in and just pound the pavement or the padding. Accessory work, which we haven't been doing on the Thursday the past few weeks, just because the running there's been a few intervals there. We've got the standing calf raises and some dead hangs, just a little superset. The standing calf raise, treat it more as a sort of mobility, range of motion piece for the ankles. You've got 12 reps with a 3-second lowering and 5-second at the bottom. Okay, so you go 3 seconds on the way down, and then 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, and then contracting up, full squeeze at the top. So those sets will take a while.
That's a doozy.
Yeah,
12.
Yeah, 12 reps. Like I said, your calves will be pretty sore for Friday or Saturday, but treat it more as like that stretch piece. Don't use any weight for them, but try and get a good deficit. So if you want to go off the edge of a plate, and you're supersetting them with just some 45-second dead hangs. So you're just fully relaxing, getting a stretch through the shoulders and stuff.
Sound good.
Yeah.
You're getting the cars ready for summer.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. Everyone hates small cars, but you don't get any.
No one likes you with small cars. That's why everyone hates me. So front squat day, power cleans and more assault bike on the Friday. This week we're wrapping it up. Again, we're in week 6. We're expecting to be going for another heavy single on our front squats in 2. So it's about time we sort of got to that higher percentage after a full week of training and see how we go. I'm expecting some really nice results and moving the bar really well on these front squats. I think if you've been doing the consistent sort of percentages on the Mondays while also coupling that with the Fridays, these 90% singles should absolutely fly up and give you that sort of confidence in the next 2 weeks for when we sort of retest that 1RM. Keeping that in mind, we want light power cleans because obviously I understand like the fatigue front rack after doing those 3 sets of singles. So we're just going to do a touch and go EMOM, sort of like 70%-ish weight of your best single, just to get some movement again. We haven't done power cleans from the floor for a bit. We've just been doing a whole bunch of pulls and segmented lifts. So it's been nice to see how your movement is going. Would be really awesome if everyone could get like the videos for those as well and post them in the comments or wherever you can on the page.
Just with those touch and go reps too, for the power cleans, just make sure that they're not slamming on the ground and you're losing tension, okay? Try and almost like decelerate the bar just before it hits the floor so you're keeping everything nice and tight. Don't try and burn through them as fast as possible. Maintain the position on the way down, so you're just training that good movement pattern.
And then bike.
Yeah, bike. So intervals where this will be pretty tough. We've got 2 sets of a 25 cal or bike for the guys, 20 cal for the girls, with a 2-minute rest between sets. Okay, so this is We had the shorter intervals on the Monday, and you know the past couple of weeks we've been having the sort of shorter high burst intervals. You should have gotten some good practice of putting some getting the wattage up pretty high on those, putting a lot of power into them. Do not try and pace these, okay? We want you to try and go out hard and just maintain it. Even if you die towards the end of the set, that's cool. Start hard, you know, it's meant to be max effort there. 2 minutes is not a full recovery either. So just keep that in mind. The second set will be still pretty tough, but the same thing goes. It's almost like a mental toughness.
Yeah, I mean, this is about as close as you're probably going to get to be able to doing like a 50 cal assault bike with that sort of 2 minute rest in between. If you do need more though, obviously take more, but the idea is you're going to go on with heavy legs, which is what's going to happen around that 30 cal mark. You're going to feel it like very, very heavy. So yeah, just try and push through as hard as you can, because I think this is going to replicate a very similar feeling to what it'll be like doing the 50. If you can. Yeah, that's Friday. Saturday. Accessory day.
Sweet. Snatch grip deadlifts. Still keeping the same percentage as last week. 4 sets of 10 reps at 60% of your 1 rep max. Focus on staying nice and tight through those, keeping the shoulders down and back, trying to get that engagement through the lats. Awesome back builders, also great exercise to develop all your pulling strength and stuff like that. So, you're supersetting those with pull-ups. 4 sets of 5 reps at your body weight. Those have a 2-second eccentric and 2-second at the bottom. So again, that's the 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, up. Okay. Try and keep the butt squeezed on those as well. I know it's easy to let the legs get crossed behind you and start arching through the lower back. Okay, try and keep everything nice and stacked. The core engaged and the abs on.
Hip thrusts, always nice with a little bit of glute. Oh, this is our superset. Excellent.
Yes.
So this is a Liam creation. The old barbell hip thrust into dual kettlebell single leg RDLs. Quite the glute pump and also hamstring pump. Just really good, especially with that single leg work added in there. Just for hamstring health and also for your lower back and hip health. I think is to make sure that they stay strong and not too loose is very important. To finish off with that Cossack squat as well is also a nice little triplet to finish off the week, I think. That added range.
So those Cossack squats, they're just empty barbell, and you got to get that 2-second pause in the bottom of each rep. And that's at 6 each leg.
Oh, so that's that. Wait, can you check how long we've got? Sorry, that's a quick intermission while we check before we give you tips.
So at 12, we've got about 9 minutes.
9 minutes?
Left.
Oh, fuck, we got ages.
So that was 12 minutes that we just spoke for.
Oh, really? That's huge. Alright, let's keep going then. Let's push on through. Highlight.
Okay.
You first.
Sweet. My highlight of training, Wednesday afternoon, I was a bit grumpy and I was in a shitty mood, and I was like tired, and this guy beeped at me when I was driving here, not turning left. Anyway, this whole thing. and I had this hectic EMOM to do. It was like squat, clean and jerks on the first minute and wall balls on the second minute, and I've only just been getting through them when it's been 8 minutes, and then this week was 12 minutes of the EMOM, and I was just like my Tane, one of the other guys training here, came in when I was sort of like about to start, and I was just sort of shitting myself and procrastinating doing it for like 20 minutes, and I was like, man, I don't think I'm going to finish this. And I was like, I'm just going to do 8 minutes anyway. I got to the 8 minute mark and I was like dying, and I had shit mental talk the whole time. And it was the first, one of the first times I've been able to push through a bad mental game. Like usually as soon as the voices start creeping into my head, I can't lock them out.
It just makes you want to go home.
But I just kept on just focusing on the start of that next minute and making sure I was at the barbell or at the wall ball, and I got through it. It was good, and I was just wrecked at the end, but I was really happy. It was a big win for me for this week.
That's awesome. It's always hard getting out of that sort of negative headspace and then just trying to make yourself train. I think but even then, I think even if you were having a crap time with the weight or whatever, or the movement, even if you took the time back, it's always a bit rewarding. That's the same with me when I have sort of crappy days when the weight feels heavy. Sometimes it's better to just take a second and be like, okay, I can still do work that's lighter,
Yeah.
even though if I don't feel like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's important.
Mm.
Highlight for me, so how my training's been going right now, I've been doing like a lot of no feet snatches. And for those that have watched me snatch before, I generally cut off my extension at the top. I'm a bit soft when it comes to that. But Friday I had to do 3 of them at 95% of my 1RM. And I didn't miss any, so it was like a huge day for me. Like still catching a little bit like John North, and John North is like holding the arms like that.
Yeah.
But that was a big one for me, I think, being consistent with that movement now.
Yeah.
And
To
sort of
95%.
finally,
That's awesome.
for sort of like paying dividends now. And then clean and jerks were heavy too.
Yeah.
So that was good. It's just more consistency with those heavier loads for me this week, so I was actually really pumped.
Yeah. They've been making your snaps look a lot nicer.
Oh man, yeah, it's getting there. Not perfect yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a tip. So a tip?
Something that I've sort of been playing around with my handstands, my handstand walks. I've been getting a bit lazy with keeping stacked and neutral, and I was sort of wondering why I didn't have much control of my speed or anything on my turnarounds when I've been doing handstand walks, like through obstacles or whatever, or turning around at the end of each lap. And I realised that I wasn't actually getting stacked. I was sort of like arching through the lower back, and so I could walk in a straight line pretty well and pretty fast, and it sort of allowed me to breathe. But every time I had to go and slow down or turn around or hold just a freestanding handstand, or try and work on my freestanding handstand push-ups, I wasn't able to keep connected. So every time before I even kick up to the handstand, I've been making sure I'm squeezing my butt, getting the ribs down and
Pelvic floor.
Yeah, the pelvic floor, so important, guys. Make sure you're holding in the toilet from number 1 and number 2
all the time.
And so that's been my focus, and it's helped a lot. So now sort of it's a bit harder to do to keep nice and stacked, and maybe if you're in a competition and you're trying to get the fastest time, maybe it's not the best thing to do. But for training and transferring to other movements, like more high skill gymnastics movements, just make sure you keep it nice and tight and keep it stacked.
Well, the more you sort of obviously set, the quicker you're going to be at setting each time.
Exactly.
Training, it'll happen instantly.
Yeah, the skill of setting up for anything, like for a lift, or like the more you can dial it in, the smoother it'll be and the more natural it'll be.
Yeah, that's right. Cool. My tip.
Yeah.
It's if everyone's been sort of doing like the cool downs in our programming the past few weeks, we've been chucking a lot of empty barbell work. I think I was just scrolling through Instagram one time and I was sort of reading through Mass Strength, who is a Chinese sort of weightlifting team. They get a lot of the seminars and stuff throughout the world anyway. Did a quick little post on how a lot of Chinese athletes are doing a lot of like empty barbell work for at least 15 to 20 minutes at the end of their sessions, just to sort of know the refined movement. But it's also like a pretty humbling experience to make sure that you like move properly, because if you can't do it with an empty barbell, like what right do you have to sort of try and put 100 plus kilos or whatever over your head? So I think that's been like an awesome way to sort of improve not only my positional strength but my mind muscle awareness. Just to give like a bit of perspective. Again, more reading from another Chinese weightlifting team. They were saying they did this interview and like the kids are on a PVC or a Dow for a year.
As a kid, a year of
and
PVC
then
work.
6 to 8 months on an empty barbell. Every day, just being able to feel it. So I think that's been like very integral to not only like cooling down and stuff, but also just figuring out where my body needs to be and what I need to be squeezing. Again, that sort of mind muscle connection.
Because when there's weight on the bar, you don't have any room to think about those sort of things.
Oh, you don't have time. You're exactly right.
You can't think about your toes or your the arches of your feet, or like your weight. If you're keeping stacked, like you're just sort of getting under it. So it really helps you to dial in all those little details and stuff like that.
Nice tips. That was good.
I'll just see.
We're checking time again, sorry. Got time?
Oh, we've got like 2 minutes.
2 minutes, we can be quick. Quick controversial opinions. So our controversial opinion is on the cutting of the CrossFit Games. Myself, I reckon it's fucking awesome. I reckon if you don't turn up to the games ready for anything, you're done. And I think that shocked like a lot of the boys, like Fikowski, Melner, even some of the chicks like Brooke Wells and that, who all didn't make the top 10 and looked very disappointed about it. I think the quality of competition next year because of the cuts, and then realise what it is going to be fucking unreal.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Like, you know, there's everyone that's talking about, I would have been in the top 10 if the order of the events was different and there were workouts that were more in my wheelhouse. But you're not a champion at the CrossFit Games if you have a wheelhouse. Like you're trying to be as well-rounded as possible. If there's something that you got cut for, then you fucking need to work on it, just like the same as every other year, except now there's no making up for being bad at something now.
Yeah, that's it. You get done. But yeah, tell us what you think. Tell us what you want to talk about, or what we want to talk about, rather, not you. What you want to talk about in the future. If there's anything you want us to discuss for next week, hopefully you like it. Give us a like, so we can feel good about ourselves.
And remember, videos of your training, please. Yes.
Please, videos. Yeah.
Awesome, guys.
Sign out.
Yeah, it's killing this week. Let's go hard.
That's good. That was good. Yeah. Fucking hell, that was good. I was surprised at how long